Bartow, Florida. My civic duties, I had an interesting teacher in high school. His name was Mr. Clark, and he posed that type of question to me at a tender age of 14 years old. And I said, well, what is it? You're my teacher. And he says, yeah, but I gave you an assignment last night. And then I learned that my civic duties as a citizen of this country was to obey the laws, pay my taxes, and do what's best for my community. Well, Bartow is a smaller town. I just moved to Bartow, and I originally came from Lakeland. And so it's a big change for us, but I'm seeing that community is very strong here, even though they call it a bedroom community, because it's very quiet, very hometown feeling. But they have the same idiosyncrasies as a larger city. They all want what's best for their community. They're concerned about their seniors. They're concerned about schooling, roads, infrastructure, and who's really going to look out for them when it comes to those major decisions at the polling booth. Well, one of the factors that are very important to myself and how I handle our community and the issues that they're worried about. Take, for instance, those who moved here to Polk County after Hurricane Maria. A lot of the locals from Puerto Rico that moved here did not understand the factors that they had to go through in order to really get involved and exercise their right to vote. They thought that voting for the sheriff, it was something different to them. They didn't understand about voting for a school board member, et cetera, et cetera. And so I took it upon myself to teach them and lead them. I've been voting since I turned 18, and that's something that's very dear to me. My son, at tender age of 22 years old, ran for city commissioner in the city of Lakeland. So that's been something that we've drilled into him. And anyone that sits in front of me and wants to know about the issues that are concerning our community, I tell them, you need to vote. You do not want anyone else to make that voice for you. So I really do feel a lot of love for sitting in that ballot and voting for my representative. Democracy is something that is dear to all the citizens of this country. It is what our founding fathers brought to us and fought for us. Many countries that do want to become American citizens, they want to emulate that here, and they would love to bring that back to their countries. You have a lot of neighboring countries that unfortunately, they're fighting for that democracy back that they had. But sometimes you allow other leaders to come into your lives with, I call them carpetbaggers. And they come with their own ideas and their own agendas in the name of democracy. And unfortunately, it's like the Pied Piper. Let me play my flute and you follow me, promising you, like they say in Spanish, villas y castillas, the best of the world. And you allow them to take over or kidnap your right towards democracy. I am a Puerto Rican, born in Puerto Rico. My father served in the 65th Infantry, a Borinquenier. Our family's all been military, and we fight and they have fought for the rights and the privilege and what democracy is in this country. So I am very, not democratic in party, but in sense of I believe in democracy for all, especially those who want to become American citizens, because they know they cannot have that elsewhere. Young people are our future. I'm a baby boomer, so I'm getting to that point in my life where I'm making the plans to take it easy, which is something that it's impossible, according to my husband. But in my home, we taught our son very early on what the importance is of voting. Young people need to understand that in order for them to make change, in order for them to put their stamp in this world, in this country, they need to step up. A lot of them are doing this, but some of them are still too involved with their Twitter, their Instagram, their hip-hop music, who's the latest and this and that. But unfortunately, those are the ones that I want to talk to. They need to understand that this country was designed and built and born for people like them. They're our future. The landscape in politics on the island where I was born in Puerto Rico, I was born there and my parents brought me over to the States at 6 months old. But then I had the privilege of going back and living as an adult. I married there, had my son there, and worked for a major American company there. When I was asked to register to vote, I said, well, I'm already registered. Yeah, but we're not a state. Oh, okay, I forgot that. So I go and I register, and there were some people telling me, who are you going to vote for? And I was like, I really never expressed that to anyone. But the day that I went to vote, there was separate lines. It's like waiting for someone coming out of a courthouse. They had the left, they had the right, everybody was wearing their colors. And someone says, but you're of that party, you need to wear this color. You're not gonna go into the polls until you're wearing that color. I was like, oh God. So I ended up putting on the color of the party that I was going to vote for. And I was looking on the ballot and I didn't see city commissioners, county commissioners. All I saw were governor, local senators, and mayors of the different towns. And I was like, okay, so this is interesting. And I found myself that I didn't get myself educated enough in the different areas. And that takes me back to here and how I've been able to implement certain programs for my locals, especially my chamber members, what you need to do. When I invite you to a meeting that I have a special guest, whether it's a county commissioner, a mayor running, I want you to know what they're actually going to do and represent you for. So henceforth, when I voted in Puerto Rico was for Hernández Colón for governor, and he was a very, very good governor. And I started to really fall in love with how the process was there, which was more emotionally attached, more community driven, when they'll shut every single thing down to go and vote. They want everyone to go out and vote. No excuses. Not that there was traffic. No, that day is a holiday. Everything shuts down. And I think that's something that should be looked at here, especially with how the times are in trying to get people to go and vote and the issues of polls being shut down at certain times. So I learned a lot in my 10 years in Puerto Rico. I remember my first experience with a politician. It was back in 1970. I was probably about 12, something like that. I was helping my mom in a social club because Latin countries, when a lot of their citizens move over here, especially Puerto Ricans, we would have social clubs, just like Italian families and things like that. So that day we were stuffing envelopes for this guy. I kept on telling my mom, who's this guy, Barillo? You know, he sounds like something, some kind of food or something. And she says, his name is Herman Badillo. I says, oh, okay. So he walks in and here's this tall man and he's thanking all the women, and I was in awe because he was thanking them in Spanish, and to the women who were much older, he was asking for their blessing, bendición. That is a tradition when you walk into a Spanish home, whether they're your aunt, your grandmother, your mom, you say bendición, you ask for a blessing. So then he leaves, and then the following night was the election night. And my mom showed me on TV, you see that man? That's the man that came to visit yesterday. And he is the very first US congressman elected that was born on the island of Puerto Rico. He was not born here. And I was like, and he shook my hand. And that's where the bug hit. In 1976, my mom registered me to vote when I turned 18, and I cast my first vote on my freshman year of college.